Well, as I always say, welcome. I would suggest that you should prepare yourselves for the chaos which you're about to experience. I am actually recording this intro after all of the clips have been shot. I usually don't do that. I usually go in sequence. I do an introduction, then whatever clips go into it, um, tie it all together, do whatever editing needs to be done, and upload the video. This started out, it was supposed to be a video about installing classic Mac OS on the Power Mac G3 Blue and White. I tried first OS 8.6. I've got a retail install DVD, would not boot. I downloaded, burned a copy onto a CD, would not boot. So I figured, okay, for some reason OS 8 just can't be installed. It should, but it didn't. So I tried OS 9. It wouldn't work. It did boot. It barely started the installer, but stopped almost immediately with an error. Okay, now the OS 9 disk I've got is actually a system restore disk for an eMac. But, I mean, I installed OS 9 on the Sawtooth using that disk. It generally works on most systems, but hey, it didn't work. So I downloaded OS 9, burned a disk. That one booted up too, and the installer started and went 3-4 minutes into it before it threw an error. Now I think that's about where the first clip picks up and goes on from there. So what started out as a video about installing a classic Mac OS has ended up being a chaotic video about upgrading the Blue and White and getting it really working. But, like I say, enjoy the chaos. Alright, to bring you up to speed, I have brought the G3 Blue and White up to 1 gigabyte of RAM, which is most it will have. I have removed the worthless in 2020 6 gigabyte hard drive and replaced it with a 120 gigabyte SSD. So far, that's all working. What I have been trying to do is to install some sort of version of classic Mac OS onto this computer. I first tried OS 6.8. I had a full retail install disk. It would not boot up. I tried to burn an OS 8. That wouldn't. So I went to OS 9. The install failed. I've been at this screen before. The disk I had is a restore disk for an eMac, but it has worked. It worked on the Sawtooth, but it did not work here. I have tried burning OS 9. It always fails verification. But here we are at any rate. Let's see if maybe this disk will actually work. Hey, this looks promising. All right. Select a destination disk. What are our options? All right, all right. Well, we're getting closer. Utilities. Try drive setup. This disk can be initialized. Oh, I bet I know what's going on. There are no OS 9 drivers on that disk. It's formatted. All right. Let's initialize it. Well, I mean, there's nothing on the disk, is there? I don't know what a custom setup would do. I'm going to try to make it 2 partitions. All right. And extra? Get rid of extra. Okay, well, we can. All right, 24. Okay, so we'll have a 20 gig partition and I'm saying a 90 gig partition. Close enough. Let's do this again. Oh, we should. Well, we don't have the provision to give them names. Well, that's okay. We'll deal with that later. All right. So let's initialize. Okay. So what I'm planning on doing is taking this first partition, which has the inventive name right now of Untitled, and installing OS 9, leaving Untitled 2 for Tiger. That'll at least get us up and running here, assuming this works. Okay. Initialization was successful. Very good. And we'll quit drive setup. All right. All right, now let's try to install. Select a destination disk. Untitled is exactly what I had in mind. Check this out. Approximate disk space for basic installation, 263. Okay, so we'll select before you install. Okay. Yes, of course I will. And I agree with it. And let's do it. All right, time remaining about 16 minutes, which, when you compare that to an OS 10 installation, is like nothing. So we're going to wait this out. Oh no. Oh no. Let's try it again. Installation tome. All right. Customize. Don't customize. Options. Update hard disk drivers. Create installation report. Okay. Now let's go back. Go back, go back, go back. Okay. Now, what are our options here? Let's try this. See if that does anything. Installation tome. Now back to the drawing board. Sorry, folks. Since I've got the case open, thought we'd take a quick look at some of the upgrades to the blue and white. I left the one 256 meg DIMM in place and then added three 256 megs, so we have the total of 1 gigabyte. Now that is the SSD, and this is the adapter that's connecting to IDE. As I may have mentioned, that 2-drive IDE cable was a complete fail. All right, going to be a little hard to really see this. This is a PCI controller card that should allow the addition of at least one, possibly two more drives. Next to it, and again, a little hard to see here, but there is a USB 2 and FireWire 400 card. And that FireWire 400 card, oh, down here, yeah. You see where I'm pointing there? It does have an internal FireWire 400, leading to at least the possibility of putting in a larger drive than 120 gig into this machine, which would be very, very, very nice indeed. All right, so that's what we've done so far. Now, the drive right now is just sitting loose inside the machine. I've done that intentionally. I tried to clone the OS 9 installation from the Sawtooth. We don't know if it's going to work, and we may need to take that back out. So I've taken the drive tray out completely, and assuming this does work and other modifications that are made will work, then I will make my best effort to get that actually secured into the drive tray. It ought to work. but we shall see. All right, stay tuned. We're going to see if this thing will boot up into OS 9. Okay, I'm going handheld here for a quick update. Cloning OS 9 from the Sawtooth did not work. The machine won't start up. I'm just getting the folder question mark, flashing question mark. So, next step, we're going to try installing Tiger. In order to get anywhere with this, we have to install some kind of operating system. Now, if you want to go back over videos that I've done, you will have seen an installation of Tiger being done on, well, we can look at a little bit of this. All right, we want to use English. Now I'm preparing the installation. Yeah, I think since I have recorded an installation of Tiger, that was on the Mac Pro 1,1, we don't have to continue with this. All right. I'm going to check disk utility. About the disks here. I'm hoping that if I get Tiger installed, I'll be able to figure out why that OS 9 is not booting. Okay, so 19.9 gigabytes, yeah, 20 gig essentially, with 16.9 available. I mean, that it should boot up. Oh, okay. We'll be back presently. I will wait through the installation so you don't have to. Yeah, we're still on handheld at the moment, and I realize and apologize, this is going to be a very, very disjointed video, but if nothing else, the blue and white has an operating system. You've got Tiger installed. .4.6, which we will force update. 250 megahertz PowerPC G3. There's that 1 gig of RAM. All right, now, if nothing else, the Mac OS 9 solid-state drive has mounted, so the system knows it's there. What's startup disk tell us? It lists it as a startup potential. Who knows what will happen if we try to actually start up in it. But anyhow, there is an operating system, and I can begin to troubleshoot what's been going wrong. Not much else to report right now, but there will be more of these many short video clips, I'm sure. Thank you for hanging in there. And I'll be darned. While it wouldn't boot up into OS 9 at first, once I installed Tiger and selected OS 9 in Startup Disk under System Preferences, lo and behold, here we are in a working installation of OS 9. The time is off. I've spent a long time at this, but it is not 2:24 a.m. But regardless of that, we're here and everything seems to be working. Now, why the installers didn't work, I don't know, but maybe this is for the best because I won't have to do a tremendous amount to set this up. All right, well, we'll have more. I think I'm done with this for the night. Time to watch some Golden Knights hockey. Go Knights. Well, now that we have two working operating systems on the machine, we do want to try to get some extra storage space in there. This is the 2-drive IDE ribbon cable. It worked fine as long as it was only connected to one drive in the master setting. So I have put the original IDE cable in. The SSD in the bottom there is the boot drive. And I have connected another SSD with a similar adapter to the end of that ribbon cable, connecting it to the PCI card. And now we'll see if that works. You've been remarkably patient to hang in with all of this far. Assuming this works, the next step then would be putting the drive tray back in and securing the drives so that they're not just bouncing around loose. But no point in doing that at this point, since if it doesn't work, one of them's just going to have to come right back out. All right, we shall see what happens. This, I sincerely hope, will be the final clip in what has been a very, very chaotic video. Some things are working, some things aren't. Putting the 120 gig SSD in is working. I have 2 partitions on it. One for Mac OS 9 and one for Tiger. Now that's my network file server. All right. What isn't working is that second drive plugged into the PCI IDE controller card. It's not being recognized. So I figured, now it's an Adaptec card. I've used lots of Adaptec cards. They've always just worked. But okay, no problem. I just got to find drivers for it. I'll go on the internet. And I realized, of course, I don't have a browser that's going to be able to connect to anything. So I mounted my file server, and it mounted fine, but when I went in to try to access the data in there, the spinning beach ball came up and it wouldn't stop. And I had to jump through a lot of hoops just to be able to get the force quit menu to come up, because the keyboard shortcut wasn't working. Anyhow, so I figured, okay, I'll try starting ClassZilla under Classic. And we'll get in the internet, we'll get the 10.4 Fox downloader, we'll get the appropriate version of 10.4 Fox. The only system folder is the one on the OS 9 partition. I was able to open ClassZilla, but ClassZilla was unable to find its profile because it was going to look on the Tiger partition. Well, anyhow, back I went to OS 9. Fired up ClassZilla, which of course worked, got the downloader, copied it over onto the Tiger desktop, booted back into Tiger, downloaded the appropriate 10.4 Fox, started it up, and got an error message that it wouldn't run on this version of OS 10. Well, for heaven's sake, it's called 10.4 Fox because it's supposed to run on OS 10.4. I was just about to try using another computer to get another copy of 10.4 Fox G3, thinking maybe it had been corrupted in the download, when it dawned on me. Last night I installed Tiger, but by the time I got it up and running and OS 9 up and running, It was getting late. I wanted to watch the hockey game. Knights won, by the way. Yay. I said, okay, I'll do updates another time. Well, of course, I had completely forgotten. So I went in, I did software update. So it's now running, as we will see in just a second. It will come up. Things are pretty slow at G3. Here we are. 10.4.11. Then 10 for Fox started, slow. It took a while to start it, but once it did get started, it worked pretty darn well. And I looked and looked and looked, and to the best of what I can find, there simply aren't any Mac drivers for that particular card. So I'm going to try getting another card, having this time done my research and located one that does have downloadable Mac drivers if it doesn't plug and play. And I discovered another interesting thing. AFP, Apple File Protocol, evidently changed somewhere between 10.6 and 10.4.6 and 10.4.11, because I mounted the file server again, got a message that AFP had changed, did I want to, etc. So I said, yeah, sure. Suddenly it works fine. So I've been able to get some things. I installed NeoOffice. I'm kind of in the midst of making all of this happen right now. So I mean, I'll be back with a lot more on this. Did I say I may have? I've forgotten already. I have ordered another IDE controller card, this time from Promise Technologies, and verified ahead of time that there are, I did say this, there are downloadable drivers. Okay, so hopefully I will be able to get that other SSD running on this machine. And at some point I do want to, I have to get another FireWire enclosure, but there is that internal FireWire 400 port, and I'm going to try, much as I did in the Sawtooth, attaching a drive to that, and we'll see if the G3 can deal with that. Well, anyhow, there will be another pretty lengthy video, I'm sure, wrapping up everything that's been done to the blue and white. But we've made some progress. I think 10.4.11 seems to be running a lot better than 10.4.6 on this machine, which is good. I still tend to think that the ultimate answer most of the time would be to boot into OS 9, because it runs in a very normal way. I mean, things are much, much, much faster, which is not surprising. That operating system was designed for this kind of computer. But I'm going to be working with it, trying to finish some upgrading with it, and I'll report back probably in a week or so, depending on when things come in. So I hope you've enjoyed the chaos, and enjoy your weekend, if in fact it is a weekend, or the middle of the week, or whatever, depending on when you happen to access this video. Take good care.